Hello and good evening and welcome to the shed. Hashtag Irish Blues Mafia with me, Trevor. You're very welcome along to the show. Tonight's show, a few things I'm going to run through, and some of it will be interesting. And there's a serious part, well, serious for me anyway, on another piece, but we'll cross that when we get to it. So, what I'm going to run through tonight is um, just a couple of the changes that are on the Bills roster so far. As of now, I don't have the full 53-man roster, so I might look at that on Thursday night or might look at it next week. Will depend on see how the show's going and what's on. But we'll talk about that a little bit about that. We'll talk about the game at the weekend against the Panthers. Now I've only seen highlights of it, but um, it was a loss, but it was preseason and none of the starters were playing, so it really didn't matter. And then I'm going to talk about the college game in Dublin. No, I wasn't at it again. Again, I will explain why I didn't do a show on Thursday in a few minutes, and you'll understand uh, why I've only seen highlights or caught up and catch up with some of the pieces. And then um, finally, I'm going to give you two more teams. I was supposed to do one on Thursday night, but I said there's no show Thursday night about who could be the dark horses for the Super Bowl and this coming season. So you're very welcome along. Um, it's Tuesday. It's been raining. I didn't do a show on Thursday. I've had a very rough weekend with illness. I do apologize. I have been very ill. Thankfully, I'm kind of getting over it, but it's very slow and I'm still not feeling right. But I do apologize for missing out on the show on Thursday night. But uh, hopefully now that will be the end of it and things will look up, which we don't know. We just take one day at a time. If you're looking at the beautiful T-shirt I have on, well, like I said in here, it's the Nickel City Mafia T-shirt, sent to me by Jake Podger and Mike Thornton. Very much appreciated, lads. I said I'd wear it tonight for the show. Um, these are two guys that look after the Nickel City Mafia. Uh, Jake is from Buffalo. He's about 10 to 10 or 15 minutes, I think, away from it, from the stadium. And Mike is living in California, but the two of them have come together, created an awesome network. And I've been lucky to be on their show, and I've had both of them on mine, and very appreciated. And these are two wonderful guys who have a brilliant setup, brilliant shows at Nickel City Mafia on YouTube, and you get them on Instagram at Nickel City Mafia as well if you want to contact them. But they sent me this beautiful T-shirt and or polo shirt as they call it, and it looks amazing. The material's amazing, and I have pride in wearing it because there are two guys I met friends with through the NFL, and I want to support them, and this is my way. So I said I'd wear it for the show tonight. So you have Nickel City Mafia on the chest, and you have the Irish Blues Mafia up on top. So it's a win-win situation. So thank you very much, guys. I really, really do appreciate it. So over the weekend, not feeling well, I didn't pay much attention to the TV. I was in a lot of pain, so I didn't follow it. But I have caught up with it since, and a few things have come to light. So for me, I'm going to go to the positive first. So the positive was looking at it was the game between Georgia Tech and Florida State, and the Viva looked amazing. The surroundings, the setup, the whole lot. There was a great atmosphere in there, absolutely amazing, and all the hard work the people that has put into it, getting it ready, really paid off. Now I watched a bit of game day highlights, and it was interesting for the build up beforehand, and it was great to see them there, and fair play to a lot of people. But for me, the guys I know are Michael McQuaid and Mark Hogan at NFL Ireland, or as we know, there's Pro Football Ireland. Two friends of mine and two guys that have really driven it, and also Jimmy English and Cole from at Gaelic Gridiron. Again, have done huge work, and seeing their work pay off, it was brilliant. Michael was on TG Carr at the weekend, and as I said, they're going from strength to strength, and they fully deserve it. And it was their moment in the sun. The game is set itself, by all looks, lived up to its billing. It was a very tight game, surprisingly for a lot. Georgia Tech won it, but the bits I seen, quarterback for Georgia Tech, Heinz King, Haynes King, I don't know how to pronounce it there, but he was amazing. And looking at the highlights of it, they seem to be the hungrier, stronger team. Um, so by all means, it was amazing. Hopefully, it'll all go ahead again next year. I know the game is going ahead, but the setup, the game day setup, ESPN were there, and hopefully it'll go from strength to strength because it was a full house. They sold out. That everything lived up to itself, and I think a great weekend was had by all. Now, I come to the negative. Now, what I'm about to say will probably not make me popular or anything like that. And I could say nothing, but I am a firm believer of being honest and open and say the good with the good and the bad with the bad. And my issue from the weekend, watching it back, was I watched the Pat McAfee show from Mahon's Pub, GR Mahon's Pub on Friday. I normally don't because I used to watch him maybe months ago, and he just turned me off. But I wanted to see what the build up, and I know how hard Michael McQuaid and Mark Hogan and the rest of them worked to get this guy here. And to be honest, he was a disgrace. And not his team. There's nothing wrong with his team. Them lads were perfect. Pat McAfee was a disgrace. Gulping points on TV to the point where he could barely talk and all about puking, all about edibles and drugs and on the plane and stories about it. Like, does he realize he's a role model to kids? He's a former NFL player. He just be on Monday Night Raw. He's has his own show in the States. And don't get me wrong, I don't tell Pat McAfee how to live his life. That's his business. What he wants to do, let him do. But he was on camera. He was in Ireland. It was a huge weekend. And I've seen people gloss it up and gloss it over. But no, I can't gloss it up. I'm not selling my soul to the devil. If the NFL pull out of Dublin because of me saying that Pat McAfee was a disgrace, then they're never going to come to Dublin. But I'm saying it because it was totally wrong. Every pint he gulped a lot of them in the 2 hour show. He got worse. Uh, I do not want my kids watching a show where, and I'm trying to get them interested in NFL, where a guy makes a scene of himself the way he did, and it wasn't cool. And anyone who says it was cool isn't with it. I'm sorry. I might be old fashioned. He can go and get it faced all he wants after the show. I couldn't care less. He can take whatever edibles he wants to take. I couldn't care less. Let him not be talking about them on TV, especially when it was in Ireland and when a lot of people and kids were probably watching that show because it was in Ireland and we're trying to grow the NFL in Ireland. For 2025, I can't wait for the college game to come back. It depending on what the teams are like, it could be one I could be interested in going to, but time will tell. I would love to see the college game day set up, uh, but I would not want to see another episode of Pat McAfee in Ireland. Let him come to Ireland, but let him have some respect. Keep on about the Irish culture and drinking and all that. Every culture has a drinking culture. You don't brag about it. It's not something to brag about. Uh, yes, enjoy yourself. Yes, enjoy your drink. Uh, but the way he was going on TV, you think that we were all drinking from troughs and gulping down pints the way he was. That was the norm. It's not the norm. People don't do that. And I just think that's my 2 cents. And if I become the sour taste, I don't care. But I'm not going to sell myself oh yeah, Pat McAfee was there. He was brilliant. Oh, we have to get him there next year. He's grown. He's not. He's a man. He's a man like me. He should come on TV and he should apologize for his actions and for the way he was. And ESPN should do something about it that it doesn't happen again, because that was downright disgraceful. I have a lot more to say, but I won't. I have a lot stronger words I want to say, but I won't. But Pat McAfee, if you ever see this show, you probably won't, but if you ever do, you need to apologize, man, because you are wrong. And you made all the hard work of Michael McQuaid and Mark Hogan and them boys look a sham the way you looked after yourself on TV the last day. Afterwards, I couldn't care less, but on TV, you weren't drinking any pints when you're on game day. So why do it, you know, a prime time Irish time TV when big weekend of college football, people are trying to get their kids interested in it so they could be watching it, and you go on and make a clown of yourself. Not your team, just you. That's my point in the story. So we'll go on to happier notes. Um, so this today it was announced at Steelers Ireland and at NFL Network and other Gaelic Gridiron, others that the Pittsburgh Steelers are having a watch party on the 29th of September in Crow Park. So I'm half thinking of going to it. I think if I can get up to and get a ticket, I wouldn't mind. I wasn't able to go last year. We'll see how things go. Um, if it is possible, it seemed to be a brilliant party last year, and it's great that the Steelers are putting so much work into Ireland. And I know I'm a Bills fan, but it'd be nice to mix with other people from other teams and get their insight to the love of their NFL team. So we'll see how it goes. But it is a big thing, and it was big last year, and hopefully it'll be another success again this year. Again, well done all the people that are working behind the scenes to get this here in Ireland and grow it in Ireland. Now, my next point is the Bills roster. So the Bills roster this year is right now been well, it's probably is whittled down to the 53. I think we're gone past the 4 p.m. deadline. But as of now, I don't have it. But what I did read from it is Joe Andreasen, the Buffalo boy, number 44, he has made the roster. Now, this isn't confirmed yet, but I hope he has. It'll be brilliant, a brilliant story, a happy story where a guy that is from Buffalo is going to be playing with the Buffalo Bills. It's what every child would dream of, wherever they are, that they're playing for their local team. And I was just reading today that one of there's two brothers, I think, is it JD and Joe, and JD wanted to be a police officer, and that was his dream, and he became a police officer. And Joe wanted to play in the NFL. Well, JD is a police officer, and hopefully, as of today, Joe is playing for the Buffalo Bills in the NFL. So that's a brilliant story, and I'm delighted and congratulations. Um, Ben DiNucci, they signed him there, I think was it last week. He's been released a lot, as is a lot of others. So I take it we're going Mitch Trubisky as our backup quarterback. I think Brown was released as well. So I trust the coaching staff. I wouldn't have him. I would keep Ben DiNucci before Mitch Trubisky, but I am not the coaching staff. So I wish Mitch Trubisky well, and we will support him. Hopefully, we'll never have to see him on the field other than when we have the game won and it's over. He can go up and do a few snaps at the end. Other than that, we just want Josh. But you always have to look at both sides of the straw. And um, it's if anything ever went wrong with Josh, as in an injury, then well, we have to support Mitch. So let's go, Mitch. Um, then, as I said, I'll do more about the 53 man roster probably on Thursday's show, more than likely. Then at the weekend, the Bills played the Carolina Panthers and they lost 31-26. Now, it was game three of the preseason. I was watching a podcast there yesterday, I think it was. Boomer and I forget what the second part of it is, podcast, but well, their take on preseason is it's a waste of time. And for me, it's a waste of time too. Not the training camps, but the preseason games. Because you don't see anything. Like the first game, the Buffalo Bills against the Bears, that that's a mouth-watering game, and especially with the Bears, the new players and the whole lot. You think, well, we see what the teams were like in hell for leather. No, no. The Bears came to play. The Bills didn't care about playing. Second game was against the Steelers, 9-3. Say no more. It was a better game as in defensive wise, but nothing. And then it was all second and third team players playing and playing for their positions last weekend. And again, it was a bit higher scoring, but nobody had any interest in it. It didn't matter if you won or you lost. You know, if the guys, be honest, that are looking to make their name and make it there, the decision was probably made already. So, um, you know, I would prefer an extra NFL game in the season and a lesser preseason game if possible, because they're not something you want to talk much about. But the Bills lost 31-26. That's it. That's the team's name now, the Cleveland roster. We're going hell for leather for Arizona Cardinals week one, and the season starts. In the story. Um, so now, my last part tonight that I'm going to do is, as I said, I'm going to talk about six teams that I think could be NFL dark horses, and they're not the Buffalo Bills, they're not the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're not the San Francisco 49ers. And the reason I'm not counting any of them three is the other two were in the Super Bowl last year and are very strong and could push again this year for it. Hopefully not, but I'm just saying they could. And the Buffalo Bills are my team, and I'll be talking about them enough during the year. So I don't want to hype up. I'm looking only at a game at a time. And when we get into a position where we can look to, down the road a few weeks, that's sound. But until now, it's the Arizona Cardinals week one, and we'll work from there. So I did the Houston Texans last Tuesday night. So my second team that I was going to do on Thursday night, but I said I couldn't, but I'm doing tonight, is the Detroit Lions. So Dan Campbell, the head coach of the Detroit Lions, has brought them on so much. And, he has brought the Detroit Lions from probably nowhere to a team now that are Super Bowl contenders. And is a guy that you would listen to, you would just love to play for because he's passion. You know, he wants to win. He pushes to win. He's looking to win. And when you look at some of the big names in their roster, you go, this team is well equipped to push on and challenge for a Super Bowl. Like Jared Goff, quarterback. We all know the story about Jared Goff. He was at the Rams, got to the Super Bowl. I think he froze that night. I don't know. Things went downhill for him. Next thing he was traded to the Lions, who swapped over Matthew Stafford. The Rams have gone on to win a Super Bowl, and now he really looks like a guy that can lead a team if they get the opportunity to win a Super Bowl. Then you look at their wide receivers. You have Jamison Williams, and you have one of my favorite wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown. These guys are electric. Tight end, you have Sam Laporta. Then you have running back of Jahmyr Gibbs, and you have David Montgomery. Make any team. You have in defense, you have Penny Sewell, or Aiden Hutchinson. You know, you have Terry Arnold. Like these are big time ball players, and they're a team for me that they have a tough division because Green Bay are on the way, and only time will tell if I have Green Bay as a dark horse or not. I don't give anything away, but they're there. You have the Chicago Bears, who are on the up. You have the Minnesota Vikings. Nobody knows what they're going to be like, but they have a very good outfit. Just the quarterback is the issue. And then you have the Detroit Lions. So the Detroit Lions are the defending champions, NFC North champions, and they will be pushed to be that again. But um, I think that they have every chance, and if they get to the playoffs, they could push on to be Super Bowl challengers in my eyes. So that's one team. My second team tonight, and my third team overall, is the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, they have a lot to prove. Now, they have an MVP that I disagree with from last year, but Lamar Jackson was the MVP from last year. So well done him. He's their quarterback. And I think some of the pressure has been taken off Lamar this year because they went out and got Derrick Henry from the Tennessee Titans. And Derrick Henry is just like a machine, like a wall. You just put him down there, give him the ball, and boom. Unless you're another Derrick Henry, you can't stop them. So it'll take some of the runs from, I think, Lamar Jackson. It'll take the pressure off him to run, and it'll give the Ravens an option, you know, a different option. They have very good running back as well in Keaton Mitchell, but Derrick Henry, I think, will be the number one running back besides Lamar Jackson. Then Mark Andrews at tight end and Isaiah Likely, two excellent tight ends. Running back, I've gone through. Wide receiver, Rashad Bateman and Nelson Aguilar. You have Marcus Williams at safety, Hamilton safety, and they're guys again, and that are seasoned players and have been there. And the Ravens are a team that, again, no more than the Lions are they're in the AFC North though, have a very tough division to get out of, but are the defending AFC North champions. Now they're going to face Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals. We don't know. Joe Burrow's an awesome quarterback, by the way, but we don't know what Joe Burrow you're going to get this year because he's coming back from injury, and you don't know what Cincinnati Bengals you're going to get in light of Joe Burrow coming back from injury. You have the Cleveland Browns, where you have Sean Watson supposedly going to be playing his first full season. Um, we'll wait and see. He's got paid, so he mightn't care. But anyway, they have a very good, taking out of it, they have a very, very good outfit. And finally, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers. And again, I think they it'll be Russell Wilson that'll probably be their quarterback to start with anyway. But it'll be interesting to see will he stick the season or will Justin Fields get in after him. But going off preseason, but again, you can't take it off from there. Both of them looked off, but they have a very good outfit as well. So the Ravens will have to work for it, but there are two teams that I think can push if they get into the playoffs. Time will tell. As I say, we're only still in our preseason. So that's my show for tonight, folks. So in hindsight, or looking back at it, I'm not trying to be negative, but I have to be honest about what I saw on the Pat McAfee show. So please understand that I'm a parent and I don't want my kids watching what I've seen on TV. And I know that they put out, oh, well, this is blah, 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 and we're here for the crack. The rest of his team were perfect. They had their drinks. There was no issue. They weren't bad. He was just disgraceful. So I'm sorry about that. I hope it's not a downer. Um, on the happy side, the college weekend seemed to have been a brilliant weekend. The Pittsburgh Steelers are having a watch party at the end of the next month, September. The Bills roster has been finalised, and we're looking forward to seeing who is in and who is out. And I'll have all the details on Thursday night. And I want to thank Jake and Mike again for this absolute brilliant t-shirt. I love it. So, Nickel City Mafia, log on to them, follow them. They're excellent. That's it for tonight, folks. So, look at it. Thank you very much for watching. It's a bit longer than usual, but I have to catch up a bit of stuff, and I couldn't let the my rant what's that, go because it just annoys me. So have a wonderful Tuesday night. We shall see you Thursday night with the help of God. We'll have more Bills news and more NFL news. I didn't get up to touch CD Lamb's new contract. We'll talk about that maybe Thursday night, amongst other things, and whether Dak Prescott will get his deal or not at the Cowboys. Uh, uh, but until then, thanks a million for watching, folks. As always, my friends, go Bills.